Today we're getting ready for Lab 7, titled Heating Ice Water. As you can see, we've set up our apparatus, and you should have student worksheet 7.1. We have Mia here today, and she is filling out the rest of her chart, making sure that she's prepared to document the temperature of the water every 30 seconds. We're starting our apparatus out. We have 4 ice cubes. We've got a stand, and we've got heat source down below. And then we've got a timer for timing our every 30 seconds. Our starting temperature we're going to use for the 0. And our starting temperature right now, we're going to go ahead and document as 5 degrees Celsius. So on the sheet, Mia's going to write 5 degrees Celsius under the temperature. And then she's going to look and she's going to make some observations. Her observations might include that the ice is starting to melt. She might also note that there are no bubbles. Our goal today is to document the temperature and observations every 30 seconds until we get to, I want to say it's around 18 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start our temperature now. I'm going to keep track of the time, and Mia is going to keep track of the temperature and document. So we have heat, and we'll go ahead and start our timer. And of course we have a timer that doesn't work.
Oh, geez, that's good.
Right back.
It's not the first time.
I know. Okay. So there we go. Now we're back on the heat, and we're going to go ahead and start our timer for 30 seconds.
Is that Mr. Gibson? No?
No.
Probably Mr. Marco.
We're zooming in so that you can do your own observations as we go, but we will go ahead and read the temperature for you. 30 seconds. Our temperature is 7 degrees Celsius.
Celsius.
And go ahead and make your observations. So you're going to look.
Good afternoon. May I have Mrs. Hurling and Mrs. Owen to conference room B, please? Thank you.
So you might note how much of the ice has melted. Do you see bubbles, condensation on the outside of the glass? You're at 1 minute. Your temperature now is 10 degrees Celsius. I will continue to read out the time. It will be your responsibility to write down your observations.
So 10 degrees Celsius, melting more.
1 minute, 30 seconds. Your temperature is 11 degrees Celsius. Now we're at 2 minutes, and we are at 12 degrees Celsius.
What was 2 minutes?
12. Now we're at 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and we're at 13 degrees. All of our degrees are Celsius. 3 minutes and our temperature is still 13 degrees Celsius. Three and a half minutes. We're now at 14 degrees. Our ice has gotten significantly smaller. The droplets of condensation on the outside of the cup or beaker have gotten larger. We're at 4 minutes. And we are at, looks like 19 degrees. 19 degrees at 4 minutes. Four and a half minutes. We're at 20 degrees. 20 degrees. Five minutes, and we're at 21 degrees. Five and a half minutes, we're at 25 degrees. Six minutes, 30 degrees. Notice the ice is officially gone. Condensation on the outside is definitely starting to go away. And if you look really closely, there are a couple of bubbles that are beginning to form. You can just barely see them here on the inside of our beaker. 6.5 minutes, 36 degrees. Seven minutes. The 7-minute mark, we are at 38 degrees.
I think I might stop at 60-something degrees.
Making a prediction? Mia thinks that we're going to reach our full potential at about 60-something degrees Fahrenheit. 7.5 minutes. We are officially, let me move this little guy here, at, looks like 43 degrees. Don't forget your observations. You'll notice the condensation. Looks like it's completely gone now. And there are a few more bubbles starting to form on the inside. 8 minutes. Our 8-minute temperature is 48 degrees.
We're almost to 60.
We're getting there.
Is it a part at 60? Tired?
8.5 minutes, and our temperature reading is 51 degrees. Nine minutes, our temperature reading is 54 degrees.
Okay, I changed my mind. It's like 70 something or 80. I know for a fact it's gonna go over 60.
Nine and a half minutes, and our temperature reading is 58 degrees. You should be starting the next column. At 10 minutes, we have 61 degrees. 61 degrees, starting that next column. There's quite a few more bubbles beginning to form on the bottom. They're also beginning to form on the side of our beaker. Not sure if you can see that. There's no condensation on the outside of the beaker anymore. At 10.5 minutes, we are at 64 degrees.
It's starting to boil a bit.
The bubbles do seem to be getting just a little bit larger. At 11 minutes, we have 68 degrees. Remember, all of our degrees are in Celsius. Kind of hard to see it. I'm going to move this to the top so you can see down into the jar. See those bubbles forming? It's a great view. We're almost at 11 and a half. 11 and a half, we have 72 degrees. 72. I do see that there are some bubbles that are beginning to release from the bottom and float up to the top. And at 12 minutes, we have 74. 74. The bubbles are small, but they are leaving the bottom of the jar and floating up to the top. Do we consider this boiling? That's a great question.
I guess so.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. We still need to keep going. We go all the way to, I believe, 19 minutes.
I thought it was 18.
End of the page.
Oh.
We're at 12 and a half minutes and our temperature is 77 degrees. 77.
Wait, but we would have one slot empty.
Then we'll go 19 and a half.
Okay.
Yep, we're going to fill up the page.
Wait, what was 12:30?
I believe it was 70. We might have to go back and look. I can't remember
I
now.
think it was 78.
So at 13 minutes, we have 80. At 13 minutes, we have 80.
Here's 78 right here.
Okay.
I remember now.
Awesome.
80.
Kind of hard to, well, I guess you can't see it. There's a little bit of steam beginning to come off the top.
And there's bigger bubbles.
Larger bubbles. 13 and a half. We are at 81 degrees. And there's also some of the steam that's beginning to attach its water vapors to the inside of the cup up here. And some of them are even getting so big that they're dripping back down into.
And 13 was 81.
Mm-hmm. We're at 14 minutes. Can't really see that very well, but we are at 83. 83.
The water is also kind of starting to look yellow.
There's our time. See? So about 14 and a half minutes, and our reading says 84. 84. Don't forget, you're watching a timer, we're reading the temperature, and we're making observations. And at 15 minutes, our reading is 85 degrees. 85. At 15 and a half, our reading is 86. 86 degrees. Think about what Mr. Celsius said. He said water freezes at what degrees?
0.
And he said it boils at what degrees?
100.
Interesting. Do we say ours is boiling?
Not quite.
16 minutes, our temperature is 88 degrees.
Almost to 100.
But we did have some bubbles that were leaving the bottom that were floating up to the top. And if our definition of boiling is that, then could we have been boiling before 100 degrees?
Yes.
We could have been. It's a great question. Something to look at. All right, 16 and a half, almost here. All right, what do we got? Looks like 89?
Yep.
89.
Boil. And there's more water vapor too.
There's a lot more, isn't there?
But you can mostly see it on that side.
All right, at 17, we've got, it looks like 90 degrees.
90. My prediction was way wrong.
Your prediction was wrong, but it's okay for our prediction to be wrong, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because the prediction is a what?
Hypothesis.
Which is also considered a? Educated guess.
Educated guess.
Yeah!
Yay!
All right, right about 17 and a half minutes here. And our temperature is 90 degrees. 90 degrees.
I think it's going to stay at 90.
That's a good guess. I think it's going to stay at 90.
Boiling.
You definitely see a lot more movement in the water.
The
lot more
water's kind of
bubbles,
like
yeah.
waving a little bit.
Uh-huh. The bubbles are bigger.
Mm-hmm.
They seem a little bit more aggressive.
Kind of like when you don't feed a tiger before the circus.
And at 18, our temperature is 91. We officially have 91 degrees. At 18 and a half, we have
93.
90, almost 92 degrees. Almost 92 degrees.
So about 91.9.
You could say 91 and a half, maybe.
Okay, 91.5 degrees. 40.
And at 19, we are at about 91 and a half.
91.
It's right in between.
Boiling.
And when we reach 19 and a half minutes here, our final reading, we get, it's 90 degrees. It actually went down 90 degrees. Now, just for fun, let's see what happens when we get to 20 minutes on the button. All right, so our final reading there at 90 degrees is right at 90 degrees for 20 minutes. Again, take a look. What observations have you made? All right, so we're going to go ahead and for safety purposes, we're going to pull out our heat source and we're going to get that covered up. And then we're going to go ahead and move these items out of the way because we still have one more thing that we have to finish. On the book of directions, number 7 says that we have to take our data and we have to plot our data on graph paper. It says that you need to give your graph a title. You have to decide which of the axes will represent time and which will represent temperature. So I'm going to show you an example of what that might look like. So, Mia, will you hold that for a second? Mm-hmm. So you can see on the left-hand side, we've listed temperature, and then we have numbered by degrees of 5, making sure to identify that it's in Celsius. We've got our title across the top, and across the bottom, we have identified every 30 seconds up to 19. So we're going to go through and we're going to take and we're going to plot our data. So you're going to look at 0, what was our temperature? At 30 seconds, what was our temperature? And you're going to continue to plot your data on this chart. You are going to want to connect the dots and you're going to want to write on the graph and put an arrow at important parts. For example, tell me when did the ice melt? And also tell me when did the water begin boiling? All right. Good luck. Have fun. Some other questions for you to think about with your graph. How does the shape of your curve compare to other students, if you're able to look at that? How can you use the curve of your graph to determine the temperature at which the ice is officially considered melted or officially boiling? Good luck.